Have you ever wondered how the professionals taste wine? Blind tasting might seem like some kind of magical, unattainable skill, but actually there's a system behind it that we can all learn, so let's do that today. In this video, I'm going to talk you through the systematic approach to tasting wine that's taught by WSET, the main wine education body. And as we do it, we'll be tasting two different wines. The first one is the M&S Classics Beaujolais Village, which is made with 100% Gamay grapes. And the second one is a Rioja, which is made with 100% Tempranillo grapes. So first of all, the setup. You don't want any external smells confusing you, so nothing like sharp perfume or strong air freshener. You also want a white background so you can see the colour of the wine properly. And you also want a clean, standard glass without any kind of soapy or detergent taste. So with appearance, there are three main subcategories. First one is clarity, second one is intensity, and third one is colour. So with the clarity, you're looking about whether it's basically clear or hazy. Both of these look pretty clear to me. There's nothing kind of hazy about them. And then on the intensity, I actually see quite a big difference between the two. So the Beaujolais, it's quite pale. I can almost see through it when I put my fingers underneath. In fact, I can see through it. Whereas with the Rioja, I can't see through it. Then the third part is colour. So the colours you're looking for are, with red wine specifically, are purple, ruby, garnet, and tawny. Now, as wines get older, they're probably more towards the kind of tawny end of things, so a bit more orange and brown. If I look at the Beaujolais, this looks quite purpley to me. It's quite light and purpley, and you often get that with young wines. This is a 2013, so it's not that surprising that it's more purpley. This one to me looks ruby and almost bordering on garnet. And that's not that surprising because this is a 2017, so this is a little bit older. So the second section is the smell, and this also has three subcategories. So the condition, which is either clean or unclean, and then the intensity, which could be light, medium, or pronounced, and then the aromas, so the actual flavours that you're getting. So let's give these ones a smell. We'll do that by giving them a bit of a swirl first, and that basically kind of introduces oxygen to the wine and helps release the aromas. So this is the Beaujolais, and this is the Rioja. So on the condition, the options are clean or unclean. And for it to be unclean, you're having to get something really quite unpleasant. So you might be smelling wet cardboard or vinegar. And I'm not getting anything like that from these two wines. So I'm going to say they're clean. And then on intensity, with the Beaujolais, I really have to stick it quite close to my face to be able to smell it. So I'm going to say that smells light. And the options are light, medium, pronounced. Whereas with the Rioja, the smells are much stronger. I'm going to say it's probably medium to pronounced. But what am I actually smelling from them? Well, with the Beaujolais, I'm getting a lot of ripe, bright fruit. So things like cherry and raspberry, some kind of delicate flowers, a bit kind of like Parma violets, the sweets. This one is completely different. I'm getting a little bit of fruits and cherry, but it's much more smoky, spicy, a little bit of licorice and vanilla. So they're completely different in the smell. So now we're on to the fun bit, part 3, the taste. So let's start with the Beaujolais. Okay, so with the taste, we've got 5 things to think about. We've got the sweetness, acidity, the tannin levels, then we've got body, and we've got finish. So we'll start with sweetness. I'm not really getting any sugary flavours from these, so we'll say they're dry wines. On the acidity, so with this one, when it's in your mouth, it almost makes you feel like you want to salivate, and that means it's kind of medium to high acidity. Whereas with the Rioja, I'm still getting acidity, but less so I'm going to say it's medium acidity. But on the tannins, it's the opposite story. So this one, I'm not getting any of that kind of mouth-drying feeling that is what you get from tannins. So I'm going to say it's low on the tannin, whereas with the Rioja, it really feels like it's drying my mouth out, puckering my mouth, and that means I think it's medium to high tannins. Then on the body, I would say the Beaujolais is light-bodied, so that means it feels more like water on my mouth, quite light, rather than heavy like cream on my mouth. Whereas with the Rioja, it's much heavier on my mouth, so I'm going to say it's probably medium to high. So then onto the flavors. So with the Beaujolais, it was similar to what I was getting on the nose, and that is exactly what you would expect. So I got a lot of kind of sour fruit. So I got a lot of cherry, a lot of raspberry. It was also a little bit earthy as well. And then with the second wine, it was again similar to the nose. I was getting a lot of smoke, getting a lot of spice, a little bit of fruit, but much more of those other kinds of flavors. Then on the finish, so with this one, I was tasting it for a couple of seconds afterwards. It was enjoyable, but it didn't last much longer than that. Whereas with this wine, I was probably tasting it for 10 seconds or longer after I stopped drinking it. So I'm going to say it's medium to long on the finish. So the last category is the quality. This could be anything from faulty to outstanding, and you judge it based on a number of characteristics. So how balanced it is, how long it is, how intense it is, and how complex it is. Now, wine number one, the Beaujolais, I did really enjoy. I think it's a great wine for a summer picnic. It's very easy drinking. It's balanced, but I would not say it's very intense or complex. Whereas with the Rioja, it was very well balanced, but also intense and complex. So I'm going to say this was a good wine, and I'm going to say this was very good. So the more you taste wines in this systematic way, and the more you learn about them, you start to know what to expect from different styles of wine. And you might know, for example, that a Californian Chardonnay will tick X boxes on the systematic approach. So if you're tasting something and it ticks those boxes, you know you're probably tasting a Californian Chardonnay. And that's how you get better at blind tasting wine.